Hello everybody. This is going to feel a bit weird because we've literally come from one impressive gun battery to a slightly smaller, but none more than less very effective battery of a different kind, shooting in the air to hit Germans. As you can tell, I'm with the wonderful Sophie, providing amazing photos, and of course an old friend of the channel, Paul, and a new friend who happens to be working for National Trust, Rich. And if you haven't seen the video before of the amazing superguns just down the road, I won't say too much, you should watch that video, but just watch that, it's very, very good. And we're very lucky for National Trust to show us around, but we are now at the heavy anti-aircraft battery that serviced the supergun just around here, and also Swingate, but I won't say too much history, we'll leave it to Rich. So let's just take a look around and let Rich guide us. Come on.
Well, welcome to the command post for the D2 heavy anti-aircraft battery. The battery itself served to protect the two main guns, Jane and Clem. Also, it would have provided cover for the Swingate radar station too. There were 4 guns here at D2, 3.7-inch guns, and they would fire anti-aircraft shells up to a height potentially of nearly 30,000 feet, although in practice they would have been set to explode significantly lower than that. So we're now inside effectively what would have been the plotting room for the D2 heavy anti-aircraft battery, still inside the command post, and signals would come into this room from the height finder and range finder sensors outside, through the predictor, which again would likely have been outside, and then the signals would feed electrically through these ducts and onto the plotting table. From the plotting table then would come the calculations as to what to set the firing altitude for the shells, and also any directions and that would need to be given for setting the gun up. So we're standing here alongside emplacement number 2 at D2 heavy anti-aircraft. This was really the condition that we found the site in 2017. There's about 20 to 30 centimetres of leaf mulch and tree debris in here, along with some very substantial tree growth, which has completely taken over where the gun would have been mounted. But you can still see the buildings within the gun emplacement, and then in our next shots we'll have one of the emplacements that we've actually cleared. So we're now at number 1 emplacement in D2, and this is where the gun would have been mounted. We can see here the mounting plates for the gun, the hold fast and so on here, and 2 cable trenches going away there, leading ultimately into the command post. The concrete cupboards here are really quite interesting in that there are 2 sorts of them. If we think of the cupboards as being labelled A, B, C, D, E and F, 4 of the cupboards, namely A, C, D and F, would be used to store ammunition. They're simple structures, they're single skinned, they had steel doors each side, and the principle being that no matter what angle the gun was at, the back of the gun would always be near to an ammunition locker. The other two cupboards, B and E, had a different purpose. These guns needed a constant supply of lubricants and they fairly regularly needed spare parts. And those were held in one of these lockers. The lockers are quite different. Whereas the shell lockers only had a single skin, these lockers are double skinned. And they have an air brick here for ventilation, so as to keep the parts and the lubricants dry. In the other locker, E, would be items for personal protection, like gas capes and gas masks. They would be over there in E locker. There were various aiming marks on the walls. We've got an example of one here, and we can see here clearly west 270 degrees, which is accurate. That is west over there. Most of the other marks now have gone, unfortunately, but we have traces of them in the other emplacements too. We're outside the command post now at D2, and it was here where the instruments for determining the height of the incoming aircraft and the range were located. We can see one of the mounting positions here with the triangular plate on a really heavy concrete block, made that way to ensure stability. The outputs from the instruments then went into a predictor, and from that predictor then went the information into the command post that enabled the instructions to each of the gun emplacements then to be given.
Hi everybody. Don't worry, I'm not that small. I think you might know that by now. Wow. Again, what an incredible treat. Thank you to the wonderful Sophie with Phoenix in the Flower Instagram. Feel free to check that down in the link below. Feel free to check out Paul's Instagram. Look at Paul. I haven't seen him in a while. Except you might have seen the other video. Ignore that. And another familiar face. Rich, thank you so much, Rich.
My pleasure.
For your wonderful information and obviously part of National Trust. This is permission visit, so want to say thanks to John as well for allowing exclusive access and for Rich to take us around. Honestly, I think from the bottom of our hearts, all of us are just indebted to how wonderful and how well looked after we felt today, and we got lucky with the weather. However, we are battling the light. So massive thanks to everybody. Rich, pleasure. Seriously, pleasure, mate. Really enjoyed that. Hopefully you all out there enjoyed it as well. Like I said, so check out the Instagram links to the wonderful two people here, and obviously check out, we'll put a link down as well for National Trust and information down there to supply you with where we are, especially at Wanston Battery as well. Hopefully you've seen that video as well. Take care, everybody. And of course, we will all see you very soon. Hopefully, Rich, we might see you in another video, but we won't say that, just in case don't jinx that. But if we do, it'll be a very good one. Take care, everybody. See you later, guys. Bye.